Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we are doing something a little different.
Yeah, a bit of a departure for us.
We're usually looking at modern tech or, business trends, but today, we are stepping into a world that feels incredibly old, yet the problems are frighteningly relevant.
Frighteningly is the right word.
We are stripping away the shiny veneer of high fantasy to look at something much, much grittier. We are exploring a narrative about the collapse of a superpower, the terrifying return of a suppressed history, and, the absolute worst-case scenario for a society that has forgotten to be afraid.
It is a heavy one today. We are looking at the events chronicled in the excerpts from the First King of Shannara.
Right.
And usually when we talk about this series, people think of the classic farm boy with a sword trope, the hero's journey, the call to adventure.
That's the one everyone knows.
Exactly. But the material we are covering today is the prequel. It's the history that had to happen so the later stories could exist. And I have to say, this is not a happy story.
No.
It is a story about a world that is running out of time.
Exactly. It's the story before the story. And honestly, it reads more like a political thriller mixed with a horror movie than a traditional fairy tale.
That's a great way to put it.
We are focusing specifically on the return of the outcast druid, Bremen, and the catastrophic fall of the Druid Order. But before we get into the battles and the monsters and the magic, I want to set the scene. I want to start with the hook because the atmosphere here is just, it's suffocating.
It really is. The text opens on the Strelheim Plains, and right away, you know this isn't a place you want to vacation.
Right. Picture a moonlit hillside. It's desolate. It's quiet. The wind is probably cutting right through you.
Not a soul for miles.
And you have this man, Kinson Ravenlock. He's a borderman. Now, for those listening who haven't read the source material, let's clarify that title. Being a borderman isn't just a job title like accountant or manager.
No, absolutely not. In this world, being a borderman means you are a professional survivor. You are a tracker. You are living on the edge of civilization, monitoring the wild land.
You're the first line of defense.
You're the first person to know something is wrong. You're the guy who notices when a blade of grass is bent the wrong way or when the birds stop singing 3 miles away. It requires a level of hyper-awareness that borders on paranoia.
That is such a good way to put it. Hyper-awareness.
So Kinson is standing there, and he prides himself on this skill set. He sees everything. But he's standing there completely frustrated because he is waiting for someone he can never spot coming. He's waiting for Bremen. And every single time, Bremen just appears out of nowhere. 1 second, the hillside is empty, just grass and moonlight, and the next, there is this figure in black robes standing there.
That entrance is so important for establishing Bremen's character right off the bat.
Oh, so?
It tells us that despite Kinson's worldly skills, his tracking, his sight, his hearing, Bremen is operating on a completely different level. He isn't just an old man, he is something other. He is stepping outside the rules of nature.
And his appearance just reinforces that. He's described as having a gray-white beard, standard wizard stuff, sure.
Like the usual. But it's the eyes that get me. The text says they shift from green to bone white, and they radiate this feral, hypnotic quality.
Yeah.
That is not the description of a kindly Gandalf figure who is going to give you fireworks.
No, and that is so intentional. That bone-white description is a specific physiological marker in this universe. It signifies the use of the Druid sleep.
We'll get into that in a bit.
Yeah, sure. But more than that, it hints at what Bremen has been doing.
Yeah.
He hasn't been meditating in a garden. He hasn't been reading books in a library. He has been in the north, in the Skull Kingdom.
The Skull Kingdom, even the name just sounds like bad news.
It's not a place you want to visit.
And that brings us to the inciting incident of this whole saga. Bremen has just come back from behind enemy lines. He's tired, he's strange, and he drops a bombshell on Kinson. He confirms that the Warlock Lord is real.
Not only is he real,
but he is actually Brona.
Just hearing the name Brona in this context should send a chill down your spine if you know the history of the Four Lands. Brona was a rebel druid who has been dead for 350 years. He's the boogeyman. He's the monster parents tell their kids about to make them behave.
So, to put this in perspective for the listener, imagine if someone walked into the Pentagon today, or the UN, and said, hey, I've just confirmed that a warlord from the 17th century is back, he's unkillable, and he's massing an army on the border.
And not just any warlord. A warlord who uses a technology, or in this case, a magic, that we have completely forgotten how to fight. That is the level of crisis we are dealing with.
It's an existential threat.
Absolutely. The Druids believe Brona is dead and buried. The idea that he is back doesn't just threaten their safety, it threatens their entire understanding of how the world works. Their history books are wrong.
So let's lay out our mission statement for this deep dive. We aren't just recounting a fantasy plot here. We are analyzing a case study in institutional complacency versus individual action.
Yeah.
We have this massive institution, the Druids, who are supposed to be the guardians of the world, and they are completely asleep at the wheel.
Yes. We are looking at the Druids of Paranor, a massive, powerful institution that refuses to see the knife at its throat, because acknowledging the knife would mean admitting they were wrong about everything.
For centuries.
For centuries, it is about the inertia of large organizations.
It's also about the dangers of forbidden knowledge.
Okay.
As we go through this, I want everyone to pay attention to the shift from a world trying to rely on science back to a world of terrifying sorcery. It's a paradigm shift that nobody's ready for. And honestly, it's about fear.
And the cost. That is the underlying theme of the First King of Shannara that we need to keep coming back to. Magic in this story isn't free.
Right.
It's not just a resource bar in a video game that recharges. It takes a piece of you every time you use it. It erodes you.
Okay, so let's jump into section 1, the history and the threat. Bremen has been up north. What exactly did he find in the Skull Kingdom? Because he didn't just see a few soldiers marching around.
No, he found a nightmare. He found a totalitarian regime of the dead and the enslaved. Specifically, he finds that the trolls have been completely subjugated.
And trolls aren't pushovers?
Not at all. Trolls in this setting are big, tough, independent creatures. They are formidable warriors. For them to be broken and turned into foot soldiers implies a power that is just overwhelming.
And he sees something patrolling the skies. Skull bearers.
Yes, these are the winged hunters. They are described as great, terrifying creatures that act as the eyes and ears of the Warlock Lord. They aren't just animals. They are extensions of Brona's will.
So it's a surveillance state.
A magical surveillance state. If a skullbearer sees you, the Warlock Lord sees you. It creates this panopticon effect where nowhere is safe.
Now, the source material mentions something that I found really, really disturbing. Bremen had to use magic just to survive up there. He had to cloak himself. But this wasn't an invisibility cloak like in Harry Potter.
No.
This was something much more psychological.
It is incredibly disturbing, and it speaks volumes about Bremen's character. He explains to Kinson that to spy on the Warlock Lord, he had to cloak himself in the blackest part of his own spirit.
Let's unpack that. What does that mean exactly?
Well, the theory Bremen is working with is that every human being, no matter how good, has a capacity for evil.
A shadow self.
A shadow self, exactly. We all have hatred, jealousy, darkness inside us. Usually we suppress that, we keep it locked away. But Bremen had to dredge it up. He had to pull his own worst nature to the surface and wrap himself in it so that he would spiritually smell like the evil residing in the Skull Kingdom.
That is vivid. He had to vibrate at the same frequency as pure evil just to blend in. It's like he had to become a monster to watch the monsters.
Exactly. He's essentially method acting as a creature of darkness, and he admits it damaged him. He says that the potential for evil lodges deep in every man, himself included.
And he had to tap into it.
By using it as camouflage, he risked letting it take over. It shows you the sheer dedication of this guy. He is willing to corrode his own soul just to get the intelligence needed to save the world.
And the intelligence is that Brona is back. We touched on Brona earlier, but let's go deeper. Who is he really? Why is he called the Warlock Lord?
Brona was a druid about 400 years prior to these events. This was back when the Druids were first trying to rebuild civilization after the Great Wars.
It's a long time ago.
A very long time ago. Brona was brilliant, but he was impatient. He found a book called the Ildach.
The Ildach is a tome of dark magic, correct?
Correct. It's a sentient book, essentially. It radiates power and corruption. Brona became obsessed with the idea that magic, not science, was the path to power. He believed that with the Ildach, he could bring order to the world.
By force.
By force. He and his followers stole the book, went rogue, and started the first war of the races.
But he lost that war. Everyone thought he died. That's the official history, the one the Druids in Paranor believe.
They thought he died because he should have died. Any normal man would have. But Bremen discovered that Brona used the Druid sleep recklessly.
Okay, so let's get into the Druid sleep. What is it, and how do you abuse it?
Normally, the Druid sleep is a technique to hibernate, to extend one's life so you can study more. It slows the metabolism, preserving the body. Bremen uses it, which is why he looks old, but is older than he looks.
It's kind of suspended animation.
Right. But Brona abused it.
How do you abuse a nap?
You use it to defy death entirely. He used the magic to strip away his humanity. He stripped away his body's need for sustenance, for warmth, for blood. He stripped away his soul. He became a creature of pure will and spirit.
So he's basically a magical lich at this point.
Essentially, he has no heart to stop, no head to cut off. He is just a malevolent force that can anchor itself to the world using the dark magic of the Ildach.
That sounds impossible to fight. You can't kill something that isn't alive.
It is nearly impossible, especially if you are relying on conventional weapons. You can't stab a ghost. And this is why the Druids' refusal to acknowledge him is so dangerous. They are preparing for a conventional war, if anything, but the enemy is metaphysical.
While Bremen was up there, vibrating in his cloak of evil, he overheard Brona looking for something.
Yes.
A MacGuffin. The Black Elf Stone.
The Black Elf Stone is crucial to the plot. In the Shannara universe, elf stones are usually tools for protection or seeking blue for seeking, crimson for offense.
Right, they're the good guy artifacts.
They're powerful, but they have limits. But the Black Elf Stone is different. It was mentioned in the Ildach. Its purpose is singular and dark. It subverts other magic.
Subverts it how?
It leeches it. Imagine you are a wizard throwing a fireball at someone holding this stone. The stone just drinks the fire, absorbs the energy, and feeds it to the user.
So it's a magic magnet.
It turns your weapon into a battery for your enemy.
That is a terrifying prospect if you're a druid.
Right. If your only defense against a superpowered Warlock Lord is magic, and he gets a rock that eats magic, you are finished. It effectively makes any magic user helpless against him. It negates the one advantage the good guys might have.
And Bremen learns it is hidden somewhere in the Westland, in Elven territory.
So the race is on. If the Warlock Lord gets it, he becomes invincible. If the heroes get it, they might be able to keep it out of his hands.
So Bremen has the intel. He knows the enemy is coming. He knows about the superweapon. Naturally, he heads to Paranor, the fortress of the Druids, to warn the government.
The responsible thing to do.
Which brings us to Section 2, the politics of Paranor.
Paranor is an impressive place physically. It is described as a massive stone citadel on a rock spire. White walls, pennants flying. It projects this image of implacable force, order, and stability.
The ultimate fortress.
It looks like it has stood forever and will stand forever.
It sounds like the classic ivory tower.
It is the literal and metaphorical definition of an ivory tower. The Druids there, led by the High Druid Athabasca, have become hidebound. That is the word the text uses. They are obsessed with non-involvement.
Why are they so resistant? Is it just laziness? Or is it arrogance?
It's deeper than laziness. It's ideological. They look at the history of the first war of the races Brona's war, and their takeaway was, magic causes wars. Magic corrupts people like Brona.
A reasonable conclusion, on the surface.
Therefore, we should study science and stay out of politics. It's a logical fallacy born of trauma.
Explain that.
They are so afraid of becoming Brona that they have rejected the very tool they need to fight him. They prioritize the study of failed old-world sciences technologies from before the Great Wars, even though those sciences have largely failed to solve their current problems.
They're archaeologists, not guardians.
Exactly. They are digging for artifacts while the house is burning down.
So they are researching steam engines or electricity while a demon is knocking at the door.
Precisely. Bremen argues that science has failed them in this instance. He argues for evolution. He believes they must master magic responsibly to protect the world.
So he's not anti-science.
No, he isn't saying forget science. He is saying use the right tool for the job. Athabasca views that as heresy.
So Bremen rolls up to the gates. He is an outcast. He is dirty. He is tired. He has been hanging out with evil spirits. How is he received?
Poorly. Very poorly. He can't even get in the front door at first.
Yeah.
He has to call for Caradlock, the captain of the guard, just to get a message to Athabasca.
There's an immediate wall there.
And when he finally gets an audience, the tension is palpable. The whole council is there, staring him down.
Athabasca sounds like a piece of work. A big, imperious guy with white hair.
He is a politician. He views Bremen not as a prophet, but as a threat to his authority.
Oh, of course.
You have to understand, Bremen makes Athabasca look bad. Bremen is out there doing the work, risking his life, while Athabasca sits in his tower, reading reports. When Bremen says, Brona is back and he is using magic, Athabasca doesn't hear a warning. He hears, I, Bremen, the guy you kicked out, am right, and you are wrong.
And Athabasca uses this twisted logic to dismiss him. He says something like, "How do we know you haven't been subverted?"
It is classic gaslighting, really. It's a brilliant and infuriating political move. He uses Bremen's greatest sacrifice, his willingness to use magic to find the truth, as evidence to discredit him.
So he's twisting Bremen's virtue into a flaw.
Exactly. He asks, you used magic to spy on him. Well, maybe the magic corrupted you just like it corrupted Brona. Maybe you were working for him.
That is maddening. It's a closed loop of denial. If you found evidence, the method you used to find it proves you're crazy.
It is the psychology of denial. Athabasca fears that if he admits Bremen is right, his entire worldview collapses. His entire tenure as High Druid becomes a failure. So it is easier to reject Bremen than to accept the reality.
And the council just goes along with it?
The council votes, and they reject Bremen. They refuse to mobilize. They refuse to prepare. They basically tell him to get lost.
And there is this great moment, the final words Bremen says to Athabasca before he's kicked out. It's so simple and so devastating.
What does he say?
He just looks at the most powerful man in the Druid Order and says, "You are a fool."
It's tragic, because Bremen knows that sentence isn't just an insult. It is a death sentence for Athabasca and everyone in that room.
For the whole order.
He is looking at a dead man walking. He knows Paranor is going to fall because of this man's stubbornness.
So the institution has failed. The council is useless. This forces Bremen to go to Section 3, assembling the resistance.
Yep.
If the army won't fight, you build a squad.
Right. And despite the rejection, he has a few loyalists left inside Paranor. He needs a team. First, there is Riska.
Riska is the dwarf druid.
Yes, and he breaks the mold of the scholarly druid. The text describes him as all brawn and heat. He is the warrior archetype. He is bored by the peace and politics. He's the weapons master.
He sounds like the guy who's been waiting for a fight his whole life.
He has. He joins Bremen not just because he believes them, though he does, but because he is desperate for action. He is tired of reading about battles. He wants to fight one.
He's the muscle.
He represents the martial strength that Bremen needs.
Then we have Tay Treffenwood.
Tay is an elf druid. He is an elementalist, studying earth, air, fire, and water. He is the opposite of Riska in temperament, diplomatic, easygoing, very loyal.
A different kind of strength.
A different and equally important kind of strength. He and Bremen have a deep bond. Bremen was his mentor. Tay is the glue that holds the group together socially. He is the one who can talk to kings.
And then there's the third loyalist, who is just heartbreaking, Kali Rissa.
The elderly librarian. This character really resonates with anyone who loves knowledge. Bremen asks him to run, to leave Paranor because he knows the attack is coming.
And he won't go.
But Kali refuses. He says, my place is with the books.
He knows Paranor is doomed. He knows he's going to die.
He does. But he agrees to a contingency plan. Bremen gives him a pouch of elf magic dust. He tells him, if the keep falls, use this dust to hide the Druid histories.
It's a Hail Mary pass to save their culture.
To save the accumulated knowledge of the Order from the Warlock Lord. It shows that resistance isn't always about fighting. Sometimes it's about preserving what matters.
So we have the muscle, Riska, the diplomat, Tay, the record keeper, Kali Riss, and the scout, Ginson. But then we get a wild card.
Mareth.
Mareth is fascinating. She finds Bremen and Kinson in the woods after they leave Paranor. She's a young woman, an apprentice healer at Paranor, but she is in disfavor with Athabasca, of course.
Everyone cool seems to be in disfavor with Athabasca.
Yeah, that's a pattern. Why her?
Because she has innate magic.
Which is unheard of for humans in this setting, right?
Completely. In the world of Shannara at this time, magic is something you learn from books, or it is something tied to the magical races like elves or dwarves.
It's a science or a racial trait.
Exactly. For a human girl to be born with magic, that scares the Druids. It suggests a return to the age of fairy. It disrupts their scientific worldview. It suggests that magic is evolving in the population naturally.
And her magic is volatile. Bremen realizes she's an empath.
He figures this out later. She can absorb pain and injury from others, taking it into herself to build them. It is a sacrificial kind of magic.
But there's more to it.
It goes further. When she gets emotional, she has these uncontrolled bursts of telekinetic or pyrotechnic power. She is a walking magical bomb.
And Kinson, being the practical survivalist, is very suspicious of her.
He thinks she is dangerous. She is secretive. There is a lot of friction there, but she forces her way into the group.
How does she do that?
She basically tells Bremen, I'm coming with you. I need a teacher, and I'm stronger than I look. And Bremen, desperate for any help he can get, agrees.
So you had this ragtag group leaving Paranor just days before the end. They need answers. They need a plan.
Which is a tall order.
Which takes us to Section 4, the Hades Horn and the Visions.
Now, if you thought the Skull Kingdom was spooky, the Hades Horn is on another level. This is deep lore territory.
Describe it for us. Where are they going?
It is in the Valley of Shale. It is a black lake that serves as a portal to the netherworld. The water is poisonous. 1 drop kills you. The atmosphere is oppressive. It is a place where the barrier between life and death is paper thin.
So it's a direct line to the underworld.
It is where the spirits of the Druids go when they die.
Bremen goes there to summon a ghost.
He summons the Shade of Gallifile. Gallifile was the founder of the Druid Order. Bremen is looking for guidance. He needs to know how to stop Brona. He is bypassing the current leadership, Athabasca, to go straight to the source.
And the ritual itself. It's not just waving a wand. It's not a simple spell.
No, it is physically damaging. The text says the cold enters his bones. It is shortening his life every time he does this. It's that recurring theme again. Magic demands a price. He is freezing his own marrow to get these answers.
He is literally sacrificing his life force for this information.
He is.
So Bremen calls up Gallifile, and the spirit rises from the black water. It is a terrifying scene. Thunder, lightning, spirits swirling. And Gallifile shows him 4 visions.
These visions are the roadmap for the rest of the story. They are the puzzle pieces Bremen has to put together.
Let's walk through these because they outline the plot. Vision number 1.
The fall of Paranor. He sees the fortress cloaked in darkness, bodies everywhere, total destruction.
So it's confirmed. It's not a possibility, it's a certainty.
It's a certainty, but, and this is key, he sees the Druid, the High Druid's medallion, waiting to be claimed on a table.
So he knows Paranor is going to fall, but he receives an instruction. Go back and get the necklace.
Exactly, a mission within the vision.
Vision number 2.
The Black Elstone. He sees it hidden in an ancient fortress in the Breakline Mountains, a place of death. This confirms the intel he heard in the north. It gives them a geographical target.
So now they know where to look. Vision number 3.
The weapon. He sees an elf whose face is unseen, holding a sword. This sword is imbued with the Druid, and this figure is challenging the Warlock Lord.
This is the blueprint for victory. Find the medallion, forge a sword using the medallion, find an elf to wield it.
Precisely. It connects the dots. You can't just kill Brona with magic. You need a specific vessel. You need a totem that channels the magic correctly into a physical weapon.
And the 4th vision. The final piece.
The boy. A dark image of a boy with strange eyes standing with Bremen. The source material is vague here, but it hints at a lineage connection. It is a mystery Bremen doesn't fully understand yet, but as a reader, you know this boy is going to be important later.
It's foreshadowing.
Massive foreshadowing. It suggests that the fight won't end with Bremen.
The aftermath of this ritual is brutal. Bremen collapses. He is basically dead from the cold and the shock.
And here's where we see Merith's power. She rushes in, grabs the old man, and her eyes turn white, just like Bremen's do when he uses magic.
Same physical sign.
Exactly. She pours her own life force into him, or perhaps absorbs the death shock out of him. She revives him, but it nearly knocks her out.
It proves she isn't just a healer. She is a power battery. A massive, uncontrolled one.
Exactly. It validates why she's there. Without her, Bremen dies right there on the shore of the Hadeshorn, and the world ends.
So now they have the intel. Paranor is going to fall. They need the stone. They need the medallion. They need to mobilize the dwarves.
So they split up. It is the classic fellowship-breaking moment. Tay goes to the elves to find the stone. Riska goes to the dwarves to prepare the army. And Bremen, Kinson, and Merith turn right back around to go to Paranor.
Which sounds insane. They just left. They know it's going to fall. Why go back?
Because the vision showed the medallion was necessary for the sword. Without the Druid, the sword is just a piece of metal. It's the focusing lens for the magic.
Right. If they don't get the medallion, they can't make the weapon that kills the bad guy. It's a suicide mission for a trinket. But the trinket is the key to everything.
It shows the desperation. They are willing to walk into a massacre to get one item.
While they are traveling back, we hit Section 5, the fall of Paranor. And it is heavy, it is not a siege, it is a betrayal.
It is heartbreaking. Caradlock, the captain who helped Bremen, is vigilant. He is expecting an attack from the outside, he has the walls manned, he is doing everything right from a military standpoint.
But the threat isn't outside.
But the attack comes from the inside. Yes. 3 druids who were seduced by Brona's promises of power. They felt stifled by the council's rules. They wanted greatness. They wanted to be like Brona. So in the middle of the night, they opened the gates.
It's almost a biblical betrayal. If the enemy didn't break the door down, the friends unlocked it.
It is, and the massacre begins immediately. Skullbearers, gnomes, trolls, they just pour into the sleeping fortress.
The description of the battle is brutal. The Druid Guard, led by Caradlock, makes a heroic stand on the stairs. They fight wave after wave of monsters.
But they are outnumbered in surprise. They are slaughtered.
And amidst this chaos, we have Kali Risi in the library.
My favorite character in this whole section.
This is my favorite moment of the section.
Yeah.
He hears the screams. He knows it is over.
He takes that pouch of dust Bremen gave him, and just as the monsters are breaking down his door, he throws the dust into the air. The walls shimmer and the books vanish.
He saves the history. He saves the knowledge of the ages. It's such a quiet heroism.
And then he is speared by a beast. He dies instantly, but he won.
How did he win?
The Warlock Lord comes later to look for those books, probably to destroy them or use them, and can't find them. Kali Risi defeated the Warlock Lord's ambition with a handful of dust. It emphasizes that preserving truth is a form of warfare.
Speaking of the Warlock Lord,
Yeah.
his entrance into the assembly hall is the stuff of nightmares.
He floats in. He doesn't walk. He is a spirit. He finds the surviving druids in Athabasca.
Athabasca, the man who said he isn't real, the denial has come home to roost.
The irony is crushing. The Warlock Lord magically suspends Athabasca in the air. He forces him to chant Master. He breaks his will completely. He makes him admit his submission.
It's a total dismantling of his dignity, his power, his whole identity.
And then the Skullbearer tears Athabasca's heart out. It is a definitive, violent end to the old order. The complacency didn't just get them killed, it got them humiliated and erased. Athabasca dies, realizing Bremen was right about everything.
And the traitors, the 3 druids who opened the gates. They expect a reward, right? They help the winner.
Oh, they get a reward, all right. The Warlock Lord warps them. He twists their bodies and minds. They become ravers, monstrous, twisted berserkers. They lose their humanity entirely.
So they get power, but not the kind they wanted.
He leaves them there to guard the ruins. It is a perfect example of how the Warlock Lord views his allies. They are tools to be used and broken. There is no loyalty in the Skull Kingdom.
You don't make a deal with the devil.
Exactly. You don't make a deal with the devil and expect to keep your soul. So Paranor is a tomb. And in Section 6, Bremen, Kinson, and Marith arrive.
They find the gates open. They find Caradlock dying outside.
He's been mortally wounded in the fighting.
He lives just long enough to confirm the betrayal, to tell them what happened.
Bremen has to go in alone. He tells the others to wait. He needs that medallion.
He moves through the keep, which is now a charnel house. Bodies everywhere. He goes to Athabasca's room, and there it is, the Ailt Druin.
Just like in the vision.
It was on the bedside table.
Athabasca never even had time to put it on. That detail emphasizes how sudden the fall was. Bremen grabs it, but getting out isn't so easy.
The ravers find him. Those twisted former druids, they trap him on the stairs.
And Bremen is old, he is exhausted from the Hades Horn, and his magic fails him. He is cornered, he is about to die.
And this is where Marith and Kinson disobey orders.
Thank goodness they did. They rush in. Kinson is a warrior, but even he is outmatched here. These ravers are supernaturally strong.
They're not human anymore.
Not at all. But Merhirth, she unleashes.
The text describes it as a massive explosion of blue fire and kinetic energy.
It is wild magic. It's raw emotion converted into destructive force. She disintegrates the monsters. She doesn't just kill them, she erases them.
Wow.
It shows the raw potential she has, but also the total lack of control.
But the backlash knocks her unconscious.
Right. She isn't trained. She is a conduit with no insulation. Kinson has to carry her out. And as they flee, the Druid well, a pit of earth magic beneath the keep, begins to rumble. The whole place is unstable because of the magical violence.
They barely make it out. So now the Fellowship is scattered, but the mission is clear. Let's move to Section 7, the Elven Alliance.
Yeah, let's check in on Tay.
Let's check in on Tay Treffenwood.
Tay heads to the Westland, to Arborlon. The contrast is stark. He is coming from dead, gray, massacre site Paranor to the vibrant, sunlit, elven forests.
It's a different world.
Completely. And he reunites with his best friend, Shannara.
Juril is a key figure. He is the king's cousin. He is loud, bold, fearless. He is a warrior through and through.
A total opposite to Tay.
He and Tay have this fantastic dynamic. The thoughtful diplomat and the brash fighter.
And we meet Priya Starl.
The tracker. She loves Juril, and he loves her, though he is stubborn about it. She is the one who brings the confirmation. She went to Paranor to check on things. She brings the confirmation. It's a tomb.
So she's seen it with her own eyes.
She has. So the denial phase is over.
Yeah.
Now they have to politic.
Tay, Jurl, and King Balindorok meet in the summer house. It is a secret strategy session. Tay lays it out. Paranor is gone. The dwarves are next. The Warlock Lord is coming for everyone.
And he has to convince them to act.
He says we need to do two things. One, send the elven army to help the dwarves.
Which is a big ask. Sending your army to a foreign land to fight a massive troll horde.
Huge ask. It leaves your own lands defended less. But the second ask is even weirder. Please mount an expedition to find a magical black stone in the mountains because a ghost told my mentor to.
That's a hard sell for a king.
A very hard sell. But Sword of Shannara is the key here.
How so?
He is. He is skeptical of politics, but he trusts Tay implicitly. If Tay says it's real, it's real. He agrees to back Tay's request to the king. This sets the stage for the search for the Black Elf Stone.
So let's wrap this up with the outro. Where do we stand? Where does this leave our heroes?
The stakes couldn't be higher. The Guardians, the Druids are dead. The institution has collapsed. The villain, Brona, has the momentum, the numbers, and the base of power.
And the heroes are scattered. Bremen is running with a comatose girl and a tracker, trying to figure out how to forge a magic sword. Tay and Jurl are about to go treasure hunting for a dark artifact. Riska is trying to convince the dwarves not to die.
It is the classic Darkest Hour setup, but there is a glimmer of hope. They have the medallion, they know about the stone, and they have the will to fight.
I want to leave the listeners with a final provocative thought. The source material keeps hinting at that vision of the boy with the strange eyes.
Yes. Bremen saw him standing by the Hades horn. We don't know who he is yet. But in a story about lineages and returning kings, a mysterious boy is never just a boy. That is a thread that is going to pull tight very soon.
And the concept of the cost of magic. We've seen it throughout this entire discussion. Bremen is dying by inches because of it. Marith passes out when she uses her power. The traitor Druids lost their souls to it. As they try to forge this sword to destroy Brona, what is that sword going to cost the user?
That is the ultimate question of Shannara, isn't it? If you fight a monster with magic that eats the soul, do you have to lose your own soul to win?
We will have to wait and see. Join us next time as we see if science and magic can be forged together to save the Four Lands. Thanks for listening.